Hey, what's going on guys? HyperX here, and today I want to talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales running on PS5 because of course if you guys caught my unboxing then you know that PlayStation very kindly sent me a console yesterday, and alongside that I also got a copy of Spider-Man. So what I thought I'd do today, since the review embargo is lifted, is just share my initial impressions. Now keep in mind I haven't completed the game because my PlayStation literally arrived yesterday, so right now I've had a chance to play the first say 3 hours, which rather conveniently is as far as I'm allowed to show you. There'll be no story spoilers in this, but I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about my initial impressions. It's been a little while since I played PS4 Spider-Man, but safe to say this is an incredible experience, and if you guys like Spider-Man, if you like Miles Morales, then there's a lot here. But more importantly, when it comes to playing on PlayStation 5, there's also a lot of cool features. So yeah, I just kind of want to talk about like initial impressions from those first 3 hours. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think. But to begin with, I mean, I feel like the first thing that hits you is of course the visuals. Visually, this game is stunning. I mean, Spider-Man on PS4 already looked really good, but playing this on the PS5, it looks incredible. There's two different modes, so what you're seeing in the background right now is the fidelity mode. Now this runs at 30 FPS, but the difference with this is that it allows you to have graphical features like ray tracing on, enhanced lighting, additional VFX, and all of this comes from a base 4K resolution. So this is the new default. If you start the game, you don't touch the settings, this is where you begin. And honestly, I really like it, and this is how I've been spending most of my time, just because of course, you know, like I'm not normally one for leaning more into the visual style. I typically, in pretty much all games, go straight to performance because I just want that frame rate. But honestly, the 30 FPS and just the nice visuals and the ray tracing and stuff has just been like a pleasure to play through. So I've been doing that for a good chunk of my playthrough so far. However, you can switch over to the performance mode, which instead gives you 60 FPS, but it does drop the stuff like ray tracing, the enhanced lighting, all those kind of additional VFX. So it's kind of a, you know, a toss-up depending on what you want to see. So, you know, the gameplay you're seeing right now is fidelity, but I will cut over to some performance stuff so you can sort of see that, and I'll indicate in the top corner so you know which one it is you're watching. I mean, it's probably going to be pretty obvious because when you start seeing things super smooth, you're going to know it's that 60 FPS, but either way, that is the main difference. So visually, the game looks incredible. That pairs nicely with Miles' new abilities. If you guys know the character, then you'll know about this, but of course he has his Venom Abilities, which not only factor into combat, but of course also factor into, you know, some of the mission structures, the puzzle solving. I say puzzle solving lightly, you know, interacting with objects to complete missions, that kind of stuff. You also have your stealth, but that stuff comes a little bit later on in the game. So let's just kind of focus on the initial stuff. Now, when it comes to exploring the game, I mean, you know, if you played the previous one, you'll be familiar with, you know, some of the open world activities, collecting backpacks and whatnot. Similar way, when you start this game, your map is filled with different collectibles for you to chase. This time around, you've got some tech packs, which of course you use to unlock your suits. You have your combat challenges, you have time capsules. There's a lot of different kind of collectibles to pursue. But one of the new features that actually works really nicely, and it's just great if you kind of just want to sort of ambiently explore the open world, is the Spider app. So basically this one is like a little sort of like mobile app that your friend develops that allows you to kind of pick up jobs on the fly. This is sort of like side missions, you know, the kind of things that you would normally encounter in the previous Spider-Man just by roaming the world. This time you can actually target it on an app. So you swipe sideways on the touchpad, brings up your phone, and you can then either look for kind of some of those more sort of like chase quest things like, hey, I've lost my cat, or like I'm stuck on a building. Or you can switch over to crimes, and you can then select those and direct your attention there. Now, obviously, when it comes to crimes, you can also just start exploring the world, and you'll just kind of get those pop-ups like you have seen before. So it'll be like crime in progress. You swing over there, get involved in it, but it's kind of cool because it gives you a little bit more focus for those of you that just want to just explore the open world without doing the missions. You know, you can still swing around and just do whatever you want, but then knowing that you can very quickly look at it and be like, oh, 300 meters away, there's a theft or there's an armed robbery, then let me just go and quickly swing there. And it just gives you a little bit more direction in your open world exploration, which I like, honestly. Outside of that, of course, when it comes to the controller, now, the controller, like haptic feedbacks in this is really interesting. It's quite subtle, and at first it's taken my mind like a little bit to get used to it, but there's a lot of sort of subtle feedback in the triggers and stuff that you get during certain moves. So when you're doing things like your Venom punches, instead of just getting like a standard controller rumble you would have got in the past, you'll get like a trigger rumble that'll sort of pulsate from like left to right, which is quite interesting. Even right at the beginning when you started the game and I was just on the train, like you get the kind of little subtle rumble in the triggers when you feel the train going over the tracks. So, you know, that's quite cool. Also sometimes in combat as well, if you're about to be attacked from a particular side, you'll get that kind of rumbling in like that side of the controller to sort of indicate it. Again, it's one of those things that I'm not completely used to right now, so at the moment I don't necessarily pay kind of complete attention to it, but starting to kind of feel for that, starting to kind of like recognize that as you're playing through is actually a pretty sweet experience. Now, when it comes to gameplay, combat, that kind of stuff, obviously that is one of the cornerstones of this game. Combat still feels just as fluid as it did before. Honestly, like just swinging around, launching enemies into the sky, comboing them is fantastic. But when you factor in that you have the new Venom abilities as well, they are just so cool. Like visually, they just look really cool. When you have that yellow lightning just coming around your fist and you like punch into enemies, it's super satisfying. Plus it puts them into a stun state, and it's not just the Venom strike, which you can punch people. Later on, you can unlock different permutations of this. So you have like the Venom launch ability where you can jump up into the sky. It's like a group-wide juggle, so you can then launch people up. You can imbue it into, say, your web sling, so you can dash towards someone, and obviously you know that you can then start speccing into the ability to recharge that faster, so you have your Venom abilities all the damn time, and it's really satisfying. Like, you'll fight some enemies where you need to be using it as well because you can't break the guard unless you Venom strike them, but having that on top, like when you kind of take the traditional Spider-Man experience that you know from like the PS4 version, which was already incredibly good fun, and then you start throwing these new abilities on top, like, whew, it's a great experience. In terms of actual kind of campaign length, you know, as mentioned, I've only played the first sort of 3 hours, but from what I've heard from people, it seems like this is, you know, a much shorter experience, which we kind of expected. My understanding is that this runs from around kind of 8 to 12 hours, give or take, depending on, you know, how much you deviate. Of course, that's the primary quest. Then you can still go back around the map and you can still go and like explore everything and collect everything and unlock all the suits, which of course there are still plenty of very cool suits to unlock. I definitely cannot wait. I need to get that animated one. That has quite a high cost in terms of things that you need to obtain to unlock it, but after seeing that trailer, the Spider-Verse trailer, woo, I need that in my life. But for the time being, that is a quick rundown of just my initial impressions, literally from like the first 3 hours playing. My next job today is just to sit down and finish playing through the game. I want to complete it today, so you know, I'll speak more about that at a later date. But I just thought it'd be kind of cool just to sit down and just sort of say, you know, this is what it feels like to just jump in straight at the beginning and start playing Spider-Man. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. Be sure to keep it locked because we've got plenty of PS5 content coming your way on the channel. So yeah, if there's stuff you want to see, stick around, let me know. But for the time being, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the HyperX Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there. If you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with, it's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.